All right, now Shalom. Now the title of this lesson is called Powerful I Am. War Babies Fighting the War from Within. Now, America tell us that we nothing. Our black is nothing. We just niggas. You know what I'm saying? The Lord said that we are special. You know, we brought up in a society and it teaches us that our seven deadly sins was our skin color, our skin tone. The Lord said that we are special. Let me get Deuteronomy 14:2.
Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 2. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God, and the Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special, particular people unto himself above all nations that are upon the earth.
Now, when the Lord made us, he made us to be special. When we born, we got to fight. All throughout our generations, we have to fight. In this article, I'm gonna read it to you. It says the maternity rate for black babies is cut dramatically when black doctors care for them after birth. Researcher says throughout our generations, we gotta fight to be born. We gotta fight to be relevant. We hear about Billy Bob Thornton, how he got famous off of exploiting Halle Berry in Monsters Ball. But the hypocrisy of this world, they'll ban Bootsy from telling a woman to put the pee on the ground for $1,000, then turn around and build an OnlyFans page. Like that's the hypocrisy of our nation, who destroys our women and tarnishes our women. Women, in fact, are powerful. The Lord knows women is powerful. John the Baptist came from a woman, and in return, she set up shop for Yahweh Shai to come. But we overlook a certain type of Billy that the world does not pay attention to, and that's Billie Holiday. Billie Holiday was handcuffed to a hospital bed while dying. Harry Hensler, the first FBI director notorious for his hatred of black people, made it his job to destroy her because she refused to stop singing the song Strange Fruit. I'm gonna play the song for you.
Take a bite of Fire yogurt and you'll taste a deliciously.
Okay, you want yeah.
Southern trees bear strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root, black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. Pastoral scene of the gallant South, the bulging eyes and the twisted mouth, scent of magnolia, sweet and fresh. Then the sudden smell.
The reason why I played this song is because Billie Holiday, she stood up bold and to that white man called, we're gonna call him Waste Man. She stood up boldly for him. She stood up boldly for her people. She loved and cherished her people. Nowadays, women, only thing they know how to do is bust it for the gram. You got Chloe and Haley getting it. You pretty much got Haley. No, Chloe is the one. Chloe that busted. When Chloe busted, the Instagram blew up. She got popular. She got 1 million views for busting it. But when she just sing her song, she get less than that. The women, America glorifies our women, but then spit in your face. The rich man want to do you, but the poor man want to beat you. It's for too long have we disrespected our women, how we disrespected our nation. These are the women that put miracles in the kitchen. Not way before, but they did the same miracles that Jesus did when he fed out 5,000 men. The women did that. When they stretch out a can full of beans and rice for the last a whole week, that's our women that does that. The white women can't do that. They can't make no sweet potato pie. They can't make no macaroni salad. They can't make none of that. They put raisins in it. They don't get down like you do. Let me get Proverbs 31.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 31 and verse 25. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come.
Now, this is the strength and honor that Billie Holiday wore. It was on her clothes. She wore it like a new fashion. She was bred for this. She didn't let the waste man tell her, when he told her to stop singing that song because these white men felt threatened by her presence. She refused and stood strong for what she believed in. And that's what majority of our women lack the things to do today, because we don't have no guidance. Everybody want to be the man on the block, but don't nobody want to lead and guide the man that's on the block. We know gang signals and gang signs before we are born. Let me get Proverbs 6 and 13. As black men, we're taught to hug the block over hugging your brother. We die from gunshots and war wounds from each other. A brother step on your shoes, you want to push the line. You want to pop the trunk on them. But you ain't popping the trunk for your kids and pulling out diapers. The world tell you that, what's a famous white guy? That Superman is a hero. My heroes is on the streets. I seen a black man that don't get no TV coverage. He was on a bicycle. I'm fortunate enough to have a car, but he was on a bicycle. But the thing that made me most amused about him is he had a box full of diapers for his baby. Driving like this, rushing to get there. And those heroes it goes unnoticed. But they want to call us wetbacks, the 10 tribes. But the very first wetback was that white man. When he came on them slave ships' boats, his back was wet. We was born here. We walked over here. Due to our transgressions, we was already over here. Christopher Columbus, he said it in a Jewish encyclopedia. He read Second Ezra to figure out how to get the 10 tribes. He knew that we was over here. It wasn't a coincidence. He didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. Let me get Proverbs 6 and 13.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 6 and verse 13. He winketh with his eyes and speaketh with his feet.
See, the black man, we train like dogs. Read that again.
It says, he winketh with his eyes, he speaketh with his feet, he teacheth with his fingers.
We speak with our feet. We talk with our hands. That's gang signs, messianic symbols. We known for that worldwide, 60s. But are we known for giving your brother love, looking out for one another? No, we're not taught and trained that from our youth up. Only thing we know is red rag, blue rag. When you put all those colors together, the colors that's in the American flag, you get color black, and that's powerful of them all. That's the only color that should matter, not the fingers. Fingers can get broken. All that stuff can get broken, but our image, that's something you can't get back. That's why the Lord says, cherish a good name. Let me get that. Let me get that actually.
Ecclesiastes
7:1.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 1. A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth.
It says a good name is better. Well, let me get that. But anyways, it says a good name is better. Did you read that again?
Okay, Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 1. A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth.
See, God said a good name is better than good ointment. Because you got to remember, when you die, the only thing that's left and remembers is your name. That's why you should never let another man or a woman defile and put smut on your name, because that's all you got to inherit towards yourself. That's what you pass down to your kids. You might not have a nice car or $1,000, but when you give your kids this law, statutes, and commandments, they're gonna live by the name of the Father, and that's a great name. This world teaches that it's not a good name. They spit in your face at the same time and want to be like you. Like, I don't understand. That's the hypocrisy of this world. It said, the Lord says, we are the Lord's battle axe. That's why I say we are war babies. Let me get Jeremiah 51 and 20.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 51 and verse 20. It says, Thou art my battle axe and weapon of war. For with thee I will break in pieces the nations, and with thee I will destroy kingdoms.
God said, I will break nations and throw them asunder for you and you, because his greatness live within us. Y'all don't understand the power of melanin. That's why they taking our women, kidnapping them, downloading the videos on Pornhub, killing them right there in the public's views, but making a profit out of it. America disrespected us so much, man. I tell you. Let me get Psalms 144 and 1. But in the Lord, all things is possible.
Book of Psalms, chapter 144 and verse 1. Blessed be the Lord, my strength, which teacheth my hands to war and my fingers to fight.
God is the one who directed our pathways into war, into how to fight the atrocities that they formed against us. We don't hear about how great our kids is. Only thing the teachers want to tell you is how bad your kid is. That's all they want to tell you. You go to a teacher's parent conference. Oh, such and such did a bad job. You go in there, your card is always on red. You can't get right. They call you no good. But meanwhile, these white people is up to no good. They do school shootings, public executions right in front of our eyes and get away scotch-free. Like, I don't understand. This is the hypocrisy of this world. Bear with me, people. And America eats its own babies. Let me get Micah 3 and 3.
Book of Micah, chapter 3 and verse 3. Who also eateth the flesh of my people and flay their skin from off them.
It says who eat also the flesh of my people. During slavery, the waste man chewed up our flesh. They was big into cannibalism. Keep going.
It says from the top, who also eat the flesh of my people and flay their skin from off them, and they break their bones.
See, they flayed the skin from off of our bodies. And this is a known fact.
That's what they did to what's his name?
Oh, Nat Turner.
Not Turner.
They boiled them too.
They boiled them, flayed them, cut off his skin, and then they passed down his bones from generation to generation.
Trophy.
His skull, yeah, as a trophy.
Come on. Let me read this for y'all. Let me read this for y'all. Hold on. Bear with me. Dang, I had this book for y'all. Wait, hold on. Anyways, I had this book for y'all. It's called the Negro Neglect. And in the book, I'm just gonna summarize it. In the book, it talks about how we was in slavery and the slave owners would eat our flesh and boil us in sugar, like hot boiling sugar, and then they would cremate us and eat us. That's why for a lot of times, that's why they get the ritual from Thanksgiving. That's why we have a turkey in the middle of it, because the turkey represent the chief head of the Indians. And they was known for eating and cannibalism and stuff like that. But I was trying to get the book for y'all so I can actually read it, the accounts, what they did. Let me see. Another point to make, the father of modern tools, he performed experiments on black female slaves without anesthesia, because he felt in his heart that black women are stronger and they don't feel it. But when it came down to the white women, he gave them their shots. Now, him doing so, he says, this is what he quoted. It says, Sims operated on at least 10 enslaved women without anesthesia. One enslaved woman, Arca, endured at least 30 painful surgery. Sims moved to New York City to open a women's hospital in 1850s and started treating white women, but with anesthesia. Now they wonder why the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is somebody they got to deal with, because during the 18th century, the chainsaw was invented for C-sections, for childbirth. Now Leatherface is something they got to deal with. Now I wonder why. That he was rampaging through Texas, killing all them white people. You wonder why. Let me get Isaiah 3:11.
So book of Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 11. Woe unto the wicked, it shall be ill with him, for the reward of his hands shall be given him.
And that's the reward and the punishment for what they got to do for tormenting and doing cruel experiments on our women. Let me get 1 Corinthians 1:27. Another thing to point out, it says, in addition, Holland reported that Sims had worked ideas about development differences between African Americans and white people, namely that African American skulls grew quickly around their brain, making them less intelligent. Now we know for a fact that everything, our history is American history. The Bible is our history. Let me get you got that from me?
Oh yeah. Book of 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 27. But God has chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise.
Now God said he chose the foolish things of the world. We're considered the foolish things of the world because we kill and ride for on each other instead of for each other. Keep going.
And God hath chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty.
They will be considered the mighty men of this world because the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Keep going.
Verse 28. And base things of the world and things which are despised hath God chosen, yea, the things which are not, to bring to naught things that are.
Now we despise throughout this whole entire world. We don't know what it's like to say, "Oh, good job." People never told us we doing good. We always hear about the bad stuff that we doing, but never the good stuff that we're doing. Like this world is just wicked. I'm gonna read something before. He says, this 12-year-old is the youngest in the world to study aerospace engineering. Now, God said, I would take your foolishness. I mean, what it says?
1 Corinthians 1:27. But God had chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise.
Now, God said, I would chose the foolish things to confound the wise. Now, this is a young brother who's 12 years old. His name is Khalid Anderson. A 12-year-old boy from the U.S. is all set to become the youngest student in the world to study aerospace engineering at a university. Now, this 12-year-old boy, according to Sims, he's unintelligent. But according to God and what the earth had brought forth, we're pretty damn wise, if you ask me. Little kids, it's powerful. I remember the other day, I had got pizza. I never told Day Day I had pizza, but she said I had pizza. And I was like, who told you I had pizza? That's why the Most High said we got to be, as the little ones. She did a prophetic thing to me. And then she turned around and wanted to give me a dime for it. It was crazy.
Hey, who is it? Is it Hiram Sims? The guy you referenced?
Oh, Sims, yeah.
What's his full name?
His full name is it's J. Marone Sims. Miriam Sims. And another thing to point out, since this world think we so dumb, it's another young man, a so-called African American, who scored a perfect score on his CAT score. Now, according to this world, this is impossible. They don't know how this is possible, but we did it anyways because we're special people. It says this Philadelphia student scored a perfect 240 on his CATs. Another one to point out is Marsha Martin, actor and producer, just made the 2021 Guinness Book of World Records, as noted by Jess Jar Jr. The actor is officially the youngest Hollywood executive producer in history, and she has the title and plaque to prove it all at the age of 14. Our people at young ages doing just phenomenal job, but we don't get no credit for the things that we do. All we get told and taught is negative stuff. Our women get taught negative stuff. They get called awesome. But no, you a precious daughter of Zion. The Most High said, I chose you out of the world. We are the firstborn. Let me get Exodus 4. I believe it's 22.
Look at Exodus chapter 4 and verse 22. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn.
God said we're his sons, his firstborn. Let me get Lamentations 4, 1-2. We are the firstborn. No other nation can claim that title but us. But the thing is, we got to start acting like that and implementing it into our nation and our community, and start giving back to the community instead of destroying it.
Look at Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 1. How is the gold become dim? How is the most fine gold changed? The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street.
Now we are poured out on every street corners. That's why you got them young bulls out there gang banging, selling what they selling. We don't need to get into details. We know what they do. He said that this fine gold became dim because we lost our way. We lost what it's like to be righteous, what it's like to be holy. We don't know how to be holy no more. We got to start loving us because God loved us first. Let me get 1 John 4 and 18. Oh, 19. 1 John 4 and 19.
Lamentations 4 and verse 2. The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold, how are they esteemed as earthen pitchers, the work of the hands of the potter?
It's God that crafted us into his hands, made us precious gold. You got to think about the body. In our body, in our skin tone, you can find gold in it. That's why God said, I will put you through the fire and burn you. Because in order to get fine gold, you got to burn them in adversities. That's why in Acts 14, verse 22 or 24, it says, through much tribulation, the kingdom is given. Because our Lord and Savior went through the same thing. We got to also go through that. Because how more are we greater than our Creator? No, we're not. You got to go through these things because adversities help you to learn. It helps you not to do that. When a kid is touching the stove, in order for him to learn from it, if he get burned, he know not to do it again. The Lord is telling you the same thing. I'm going to beat you until you get it right. I'm going to beat you because I know it's greatness inside of you. I'm going to beat you until you cry up and look at me and notice that how great you are because of me. It is the Lord's doing. You got 1 John 4 and 19.
Book of 1 John chapter 4 and verse 19. We love him because he first loved us.
You see, it's God that loved us. That's why we have to love him. We have to keep his commandments. We got to keep his statutes. We got to keep his laws because he loved us first. Let me get on John 15, 16. Now, all of us in here is special, even the people that's online. It's no such thing as you not good enough. Out of 1 million semen, you was the first one to come out and hit the egg. That's pretty damn impressive, if you ask me. It's only one you. You should cherish the thought, your thoughts, your body. You are a divine intervention that the Lord crafted together. Because it's not going to be another you in these seats. It's not going to be another you online. It's not going to be another you. You only get one black, and that black do not crack if we keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. You know?
Book of John chapter 15 and verse 16. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain.
But it's the Lord that give us our glory because he the one that chose us to be special. We shouldn't be jealous over each other. We should live by a motto and lead by example. I'm not better than no man, but no man is better than me. That should be our motto. It shouldn't be, let me son this dude so I can look impressive in front of women. It shouldn't be like that. We got to love our brothers continuously. Let me get Hebrews 13 and 1. That's why the Lord said iron sharpens iron. Because when you sharpen an iron, what do you get? You get a sword. In return, you not only get a sword to cut down, you get a sword to heal. Because with a blade, you can get surgical. With these scriptures, we can get surgical. All it takes is just a word, and the word cleanses our mind, body, and soul. That's all it takes. We got to take these things in consideration and stop looking at your brother like he's an op. He's not an op. He's not your block. He's your brother. He's your blood. Bone of your bone, flesh of your flesh. Let me get that.
Hebrews chapter 13, verse 1. Let brotherly love continue.
God said, let brotherly love continue before anything and all things. If you're going to talk to a brother, talk to him nicely. You ain't got to call him, hey, yo, nigga, you got that ace? Like, we shouldn't be talking like that. God put us here to perform and to practice the righteous acts. You gotta ask yourself, if you buying weed, let me get an eighth. How is that righteous? You think God gonna come down here? Oh, hey, Jonah, let me get that eighth you got. You still got the top shelf? God not gonna come here and do that. You gotta ask yourself, did this look right to you? You rolling up a weed. Yeah, nigga, you stupid. Stupid. Now I know why I called it a love seat. They called it a love seat because you're supposed to make love on it. Is that righteous to you? No, pull me up that drink. Let me get that. Yeah. That's righteous to me. Because at the same time, when you smoking weed with another man, you down there indirectly kissing them. Because y'all got to lick it and burn it. And you passing it around. How's that righteous? Yuck mouth, breath stinking. Like, come on, bro. Even if you get a bond, that's still wrong. Because you defiling your temple. The only reason why you get high is because the particles in your brain and the particles that's in the weed is fighting back. That's why you get like a zombified. That's the effects of weed. Your brain is trying to fight it back. That's why I call it marijuana, because it turns the man feminine and the woman masculine. It's marijuana. In the book, the movie Juwanna Mann, he dressed up as a woman, if you get the reference. But that's why I said that. Even in the 70s, the only reason why weed was illegal, God said the weed was meant for you to eat it. It's meant for eat. The herb. You got to put yourself in logical perspective. And I believe in the 70s, weed was deemed illegal because one of the federal bureaus who was heading of that department, he said weed was making white women more attracted to black men. That's why weed was outlawed and illegal, because of that notation right there, because of their jealousy. No, that's not why white women was attracted to us. They've been attracted to us ever since the slave trades, ever since we was on them fields. Oh, look at that good looking strong brother right there. Meanwhile, you whipping this back out, we whipping. Never mind, I ain't gonna say that. Y'all catch my drift. We know what we was doing. That's why they love us so much. It is scientifically proven that black men are the most attractive men on the planet. And that goes towards women too, as well. The black woman is the most attractive being on the planet. Not only that, it's a movie called Raised by Wolves. And in the movie, it's a guy named Father. The father is black. But guess what the mother is? She's white. We all know that the Eve gene only can come from a melanated person, because that gene only exists in a black woman. We have all variants of shades within your womb, your chromosomes. Now in this movie, the mother is white, but in this movie, she gets strong and powerful when she turns black. That's one thing y'all do not know. In this movie, she puts on her eyes. She get into that state, and then she beams up, and then she turns into a bronze figure. And when you look closely, it looks like she got braids. They want to imitate and be just like y'all. And you see it throughout all these type of movies, right in front of our faces. Let me get 2 Timothy 2:3.
Book of 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 3. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua Mashiach.
God said we got to endure these hardness. In order for us to get over our hardships and the things that we're going through with Edomites, we got to endure hardness as a good soldier. Take it with a grain of salt, because everything that we're going through is preparing for us for things that we need to get in the long run, because it's only going to do is just shape us and make us stronger. It's for the benefit of us. In order for you to know what it's like to have something, you got to lose it. In order for you to know what it takes to have gains, you got to fight for it. We got to start fighting for the kingdom. We got to start fighting for each other, because ain't nobody else going to fight for us better than we can. Ain't nobody else going to tell you, hey, brother, keep your head up, better than we can. The world wants you to walk around with your head down. God said, lift your head up. I raised you up. Can't no other nation claim God but us. Let me get Revelation 2. Two and 9.
Book of Revelation chapter 2 and verse 9. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich.
Why are we rich? What's the aspect that makes us rich?
Our inheritance.
Our inheritance. Perfect. Let me get James 2 and 5.
I need to be reminded why you're rich.
Come on.
Because, there's apprentices.
Come on. This is a reason why we're rich. We're rich because we're the only nation that can claim God. No other nation can claim God. Out of all 18 nations, he only chose one. He said, "You're my firstborn." He didn't see them. That's like when you get off, you're not gonna think about the rest of the remainings that you left on your bedroom bed, right? You only gonna think about that one that you had a kid with, right? So it's the same way. The Lord look at the other nations like the same way. They spittle. You ain't nothing to me. You just something I had a pleasure with. The Lord made these other nations so they can have servitude over us. We supposed to embody the immortality of God's glory. We supposed to reign over these other nations. Let me get Isaiah 14. Yeah, let me get that. James 2:5.
James chapter 2, verse 5. Hearken, my beloved brethren, have not God chosen the poor of this world?
God chosen us, the poor. The fake Jews, they're rich. They can't claim God. You can't say that God chose them because they rich. We have no inheritance right now. We have no right to no money. And in fact, it's kind of damn disrespectful that the America can give us COVID vaccine relief money, but they can't give us no damn reparations. That's a slap in the face. You can give y'all all this money when it comes down to you and your white American skin, but when it comes down to us in our battles, in our plight, y'all want to bird drop on us. That's pretty damn disrespectful. Keep going.
Rich in faith and heirs of the kingdom which he had promised to them that love him.
God said, "I will make you heirs of his kingdom." The world don't set a kingdom for us, but the God said, "I got a kingdom better for you." The world can't take his kingdom away from us because that's a celestial kingdom. That's why he said, the kingdom isn't within you. You're not going to say, look over there, look over there. Nah, you got to fight that battle within your mind and take back the kingdom. So a man thinketh, so is he. Y'all got to understand, the vitamin D is, in fact, it's not a vitamin. It's a hormone found only in our melanated skin. That's why we are able to see. When you think about melanin, people look at it like it's just a skin tone. No, melanin helps us to see. Y'all able to see due to melanin that hits our eyes. And then the processors, the vitamin D receptors that's in our bodies mimics the light in the back of our cerebral, creates vision that we see here today. And that's something amazing that the Most High put within us. That's why our immune system is built differently from other nations' immune system. We don't have to go through radiation the same way that they go through radiations. They get skin sores. They get age wrinkles. We don't get those things. You going?
James 2, 6, right?
No. Let me get finish Revelation.
Revelation 2:9. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan.
God said these are the synagogues of Satan because they made God's truth into a lie. They constantly keep blaspheming against God's people. They tell you that they're the real Jews. God said, no, you're not. Let me get Titus 1:14.
Read it.
Yeah.
Titus chapter 1, verse 14. Who gave himself for us, that he might redeem us from all iniquity and purify unto himself a peculiar people.
1:14. Titus 1:14.
Yes. Oh, 1:14. So
Yeah.
that's my bad. So okay. Verse 14. Not giving heed to Jewish fables.
God said, don't take heed to these Jewish lies. Keep going.
And commandments of men.
These are the commandments of man that claim that they're Jews, but they're not. God called them liars. Keep going.
That turn from the truth.
They turn from this truth because they know damn well they're not the chosen people. With the tassels and with them zitzes, you can tell they're not the chosen people. They don't walk like you. They don't even talk like you. So how are they the chosen? You got to look at the anatomy, even how our hair grows towards the sun. Plants grows towards the sun. Our spirit grows towards the sun, which is Yahweh Shai. We're built the same in the same fashion as a tree. Let me get Romans 2:17.
Romans chapter 2, verse 17. Behold, thou art called a Jew, and we test in the law.
God called you a Jew, so-called black man. you so-called Native Americans, you so-called Tan tribe, Latina. Keep going.
And makest thy boast of God.
God said we got to make our boast of him. We got to ride for it for him. Now another account, let me get the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Get that one more time.
Job chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the face of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?
This waste man tells you that you should love your wife or your significant other. I don't know, because nowadays people are on the down low. So to love your significant other on a date, God said, love your wife as Christ loved the church. That solves every issue. Your love is not determined within another man's perception of how love is. That's not love. If another man got to tell you to take your girl out, that's not love. You shouldn't want to bow down to stuff like that. Why wait for a day for you to do that? We got to learn how to be more spontaneous. Women love spontaneousness. If everybody celebrated love on one day, how are you special if everybody's doing it? How are you special? Why settle for that? God said, I'm gonna give you a husband. He gonna love you every day. He gonna kiss the soles of your feet. He gonna let you know every day you wake up, baby, you look beautiful, even though you don't. You got the eye boogers in your eyes, but damn, I love you anyways. That's what he gonna do for you. Every man is given it his portion. We gotta learn how to love and cherish one another because the world don't. You got to look that man, even though he got the breath stinking in the morning, you got to still look at him and hug that man because you know the world ain't going to hug him like you can. That's love right there. Now I'm going to read this article for you. I'm going to show you how wicked, how unforgiving this so-called waste man is. Now, this is a story about a pregnant lady. It said, and her name is Mary Turner. Mary Turner, pregnant, lynched in Georgia for publicly criticizing husband's lynching. And this is what they do to us. On May 19, 1918, Mary Turner, a black woman who was 8 months pregnant, was lynched by a white mob from Brooks County, Georgia, at the bridge 16 miles northern for speaking publicly against the lynching of her husband the day before. A white mob bound her feet, hanged her from a tree from her head facing down, throwing gasoline on her, burnt the clothes off her body. Mrs. Turner was still alive when the mob took the large butcher knives to cut her abdomen, cutting the unborn baby from her body. When the baby fell from Mary Turner, a member of the mob crushed the baby's head with his foot. The mob then riddled Mrs. Turner's baby in hundreds of bullets, killing her. Now, this is what our so-called black women leave us for this type of atrocities. Like, how do you go home to a so-called waste man at night? What do y'all talk about? What is the politics going to be? I'm going to still look across for him if I had a white woman. Y'all still killed my people. And then she going to, in return, yeah, you still was my slave, nigga. But yeah, we willing to jump over riddles and hurdles and all kinds of stuff for this white woman, but we can't do it for our black queens who dies and take up arms for us. They don't make movies like Angela Davis, biopics of her, but they'll give us, you know who they give us, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion doing good because she's in a relationship now, but back then, you know, she was busting it for the ground. How you gonna bust it for the ground before your husband? You have no room for imagination. I didn't seen it all. So when a woman come to you exposing the goods, it's like I already had you. What more can you give to me? Because you already gave it to the whole world. You no longer clothe in that fashion of goodness. Your goodness became bittersweet. That is a damn shame that Chloe can be a fucking god for busting it, but Haley will be considered the modest one. But she don't get no praise or no mention. She get the mermaid. All of a sudden, Drake want to follow Chloe. All of a sudden. It's just a damn shame. That's all I can say. It's just a damn shame. Let me get excuse my language. Let me get Proverbs 31 and no, let me get 6 and 16. Proverbs 6 and 16.
Proverbs chapter 6, verse 16. These 6 things do the Lord hate. Yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood.
God said he hates these things. The so-called white man, he hates you for what you continue to do. Yeah, you might say that, oh, back in the day, that wasn't me. I wasn't the ones that's killing and raping your people, but you're still doing it to this day. You go into other people's nations and build up garrisons. Just like Christopher Columbus. You inherit your father's deeds. You in the mirror reflection of your father. Y'all doing the same things like the days of old, but y'all say it wasn't you, but you're doing the same things, which is a shame. Let me get keep going.
And heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief.
Now their feet is swift. They in a quick. I mean, they in a hurry to cut us off. They in a hurry to devise wicked imaginations towards us. You want?
A false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discourse among brethren.
God said he hates these things, especially when you sow discourse among your brother. Your brother is here to rebound you. You got to think about Bad Boys. What made Will Smith and Martin Lawrence so great is their brotherhood. We got to get back to that. Bad Boys 1, Bad Boys 2, you was with me. We got to get back to that. We got to get back to the days of going back to back in arms with your brother, your sister. Like, it's a damn shame. We don't know what that feels like to get somebody's back and to trust them beyond a shadow of a doubt, no matter what nobody else is saying. You got to trust that person at the end of the day because you know he means well. Even though this world disrespecting him like, oh, yeah, he committed that crime. No, he didn't. I know him. He wouldn't do such a thing. It says Satan stand at the gate and accuse us daily. It's Satan that does this. The so-called white man stands at the gate and accuses us daily without no probable cause. He just do it for fun. He kills us for fun. Before COVID-19, we were still getting shot in our backs. People don't even realize that. The guy got shot over 50 times in his back before COVID hit. But yeah, we praise him. You want to celebrate his days. Let's celebrate the days that, let's celebrate the days we put our enemies to rest, to flight. Let's celebrate those days. Let me get this one. Let me get Job 14. No, 29 and 17. This is what we need to be celebrating. The days we put our enemies to flight. Yeah, right now.
Job chapter 29, verse 17. And I break the jaws of the wicked.
God said we got to break the jaws of this wicked people, these wicked nations. Read that one more time.
And I break the jaws of the wicked.
We got to start breaking the jaws of these wicked people. Don't be afraid to stand up for your people. It was right. Billie Holiday did a phenomenal job when she did that. She stood up for what was right. She didn't give a damn about what he said. She could continue to sing, being handcuffed to a bed. And then the nurse did not even get her no water, no medication. They just let her die. Read that again.
And I break the jaws of the wicked and pluck the spoil out of his teeth.
We're going to pluck the spoils out of his teeth. The spoils are goods out of his teeth. That sweet taste, we're going to leave a sour mouth, a sour taste in his mouth. Read this.
It says, when a black fighter won the fight, of the century, race riots erupted across
Now,
America.
before there was a Muhammad Ali, there was a Jack Johnson. Read that.
Jack Johnson knocked out Jim Jeffries.
Jeffries was one of the heavy hitters for the so-called waste man. Now we know through the womb we've been battling this man nonstop, and he vowed and pledged that he will destroy us. Keep going.
Says Jack Johnson knocked out Jim Jeffries, and black people were murdered for it.
Jack Johnson knocked out the wicked, but our people had to suffer for his victory. It was our people, and they murdered him. I mean, murdered hundreds of black people, so-called black people, for this knockout, this upset, as if we're not stronger than him. Keep going. Read this.
On Independence Day, 1910, race riots ignited across America.
And this will be considered your 4th of July. Instead of celebrating America's independence from Britain, our friends, whatever, celebrate the day that Jack Johnson knocked out a so-called waste man on 4th of July. This is what we should be celebrating and participating in. Let's celebrate hip, hoorah for that. Keep going.
Jack Johnson, a black boxer, had defeated the white Jim Jeffries in a heavyweight fight.
Repeat that again.
It says Jack Johnson, a black boxer, had defeated the white Jim Jeffries.
Did he hug Jeffries?
Had defeated the white Jim Jeffries in a heavyweight fight in the middle of the Reno Desert. Cities around the nation, including Houston, New York, St. Louis, Omaha, New Orleans, Little Rock, and Los Angeles, erupted with anger and vindication of a racially divided country. It says the day after, newspapers set on the difficult task of tallying the aftermath. One man was shot in Arkansas. 2 Negroes were killed at Lake Providence, LA. 1 Negro was killed and killed at Mounds, and a Negro fatally wounded in Round Eye, VA. Reported one local newspaper explained that the tension that existed everywhere vented itself out chiefly in the streets, in the street shuffles. Says a report from Houston read Charles Williams, a Negro fight enthusiast, had his throat slashed from ear to ear in a street. It's like on a streetcar by a white man, having announced to vociferously his appreciated of Jack Johnson's victory in Reno. In Manhattan, St. Juan Hill neighborhood, a mob set fire to a black tenement while blocking the doorway to prevent the occupants' escape. In St. Louis, a black crowd marched the streets, pushing whites off the sidewalk and harassing them before being clubbed and dispersed by police. In Washington, 2 white men were fatally stabbed by black men, with 236 people arrested in the city alone. And in Omaha, a black man was smothered to death in a barber's chair, while in Wheeling, West Virginia, a black man driving an expensive car, just at the playboyish Jack Johnson was famous for, was beset by a mob and hanged.
Every time you participate in 4th of July, you celebrating the downfall of your people. So that's why it's pretty dang disrespectful when you say happy 4th of July, but you don't acknowledge the fact that millions, I mean, not millions, hundreds of thousands of so-called black men had died on that day. That's why the Lord say, I will not celebrate or hear or smell your feast days. These are the things we need to be celebrating. They don't have this in our history book. Man, we could just stop right there. But Jack Johnson, man, someone that we need to be looking up to. Because during this time, Jack Johnson, he was threatened if he participated in this fight, and if he wins, they said that they was gonna kill him. But Jack Johnson stood boldly in the face of all evil and knocked him out flat out, smooth out. The boy was licking his blood in the ring. It's crazy. Like you should see, it's crazy. Now, another thing that we need to point out, that Edomites have been using every inch of our body. First, it was the slave teeth for dentures. Now it's the hair for furniture stuffing. Throughout our generations, the so-called waste man been pulling out the hairs of our sisters and stuffing them for pillows. This has been going on for years. They would take the skin of our bodies and make a chair out of it in remembrance that I did that. But they don't have to pay. They want us to remember what happened in the Holocaust. But the first Holocaust that took place was America's Holocaust, and we're gonna get a little bit into that. George Washington's false teeth were not wooden, as if you may have heard. They were actually made from variety of materials, including human teeth. According to the accounts recorded in Mount Vernon's, the teeth may have been pulled from Washington's slaves. That's the slave teeth that was in George Washington was black people's teeth. The first presidential smile was because of us. It wasn't Barack Obama who was in the White House. We was in the White House with that presidential smile. That's what we need to. Here's a picture. This is crazy. He will pluck up all of our teeth and make them for dentures. But we not great. Let me continue reading this. However, as the slaveholder, George Washington also followed the standards of his time. He condoned and even encouraged violence as a way to keep enslaved people subservient. He brought and sold slaves for economic reasons, sometimes separating families in the process. While president of the United States, leading a normally free country, he actively prevented his enslaved servants from learning of their own natural own right freedom. Let me get Psalms 58 and 2.
Psalms chapter 58, verse 2. Yea, in heart ye work wickedness. Yea, wait the violence of your hands in the earth.
God said they weighed the violence in the hands on the earth. Everything would have been possible if it wasn't for us. We built up Washington D.C. due to the Dutch slave trade. That was our hands that built up the White House. When you go back to the Caucasus Mountains, it's the same resemblance as the White House that we know today. We built them up. Let me get Psalms 58 and 3.
Psalm chapter 58, verse 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb.
Now, from birth, the so-called white man was strangled from the womb. Keep going.
They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies.
They go astray as soon as they be born. Because when they are born, they learn, they disrespect their parents. They say, F you, mom. They say, get out of my room before I kill you. These are the things that they say. We wasn't brought up like that. If I ever tell my mom to get out, I got a shoe on my foot. On my head. Like we already know not to play with a so-called black woman when she's angry. Keep going. Yeah.
Their poison is like the poison of a serpent.
Give me verse 6.
They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear.
And these are the generations of vipers whose poison, they poison us through their philosophies. They poison us through vain deceit. They poison us by telling our women that they ain't nothing. They only gonna be B's, O's, and pimps. We get Grammys for Wickedly. Meanwhile, Black Panther is breaking box offices records. We was the first to do so. Even through our albums, we was able to do so when Kendrick Lamar dropped the Black Panther album. It was no album like that. You're not gonna want to hear a Lone Country in the Wind album. We're not gonna want to hear that.
Hey, we did that too, though.
Even we started country music.
All that. Rock and roll, the whole thing.
Man, Elvis learned his way from a so-called black man. I forgot his name.
Stole.
Oh, my bad. Stole. Man,
Because what they do is they capitalize on the great white hype. It's amazing when a white man does it. You know, when we do it, it's so many of us that's great at what we do. When a white man does it, it's considered something new. You know, that's why Elvis is called the king of rock and roll, because they don't have an abundance of white men doing the great stuff we do. But you know, he died on the toilet, so we gotta
Con. Let me get Job 8 and 10. I mean Proverbs 8 and 10. Proverbs 8 and 10.
Proverbs chapter 8, verse 10. Receive my instruction and not silver, and knowledge rather than the choice of gold.
God said we got to learn how to receive his knowledge rather than silver and gold, because these are the golds, these are the silver of our times. This is the thing that's going to make us and set us free. Let me get Proverbs 23 and 7.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 23 and verse 7. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he.
God says, so if you think if in your heart, so is you. We got to learn how to house the process of thinking, thought, matter, kinetic energy. When you look into quantum physics, this is a known fact that wherever thought goes, energy flows. We got to learn how to take away the doubt that we hover over each other's heads, even within ourselves. We got to start thinking highly of ourselves. We got to stop putting the notion that we're not good enough. God said you are good enough because I chose you out of the world. He said you are the precious stones. Every person grafted in this truth that's sitting down today, God chose you. That means you are special. You could have just been another dude on the block selling the rocks. But no, God said, I have something important planned for that man that's sitting in the seat. I got something important planned for Yadel. You're special. Iram is special. Chad is, all of y'all are special because there only can be one you. Even if you're not the best reader, the best teacher, you still special because God said so. His love is like no other. For us to disrespect him on the daily, every time we sin, the Lord felt it first. Every time we decide not to keep his law, statutes, and commandments, the Lord felt that first. When you even fix your lips to say, no, I can't do that. I can't keep them laws. The Lord felt that first. You disrespected him. And in return, you disrespect the Father, because every time Yahweh Shai appears, that he's in the image of the Most High's words. Every time he appears, he's his will. So he said, when you see me, you see the Father. That's why he said, great is he that dwelleth in you. You got to understand, just because we was kicked out of the Garden of Eden, we already know Jerusalem is the mother of us all. That's why wherever we go, wherever we at, Jerusalem will always be with us, because it's in our DNA. We have the genetic makeup of Jerusalem. From the time we was born in the Garden of Eden, from now, that is history in our DNA. That is the Garden of Eden within our DNA. That's why the Most High said, where two or three is gathered together in my name, I'll be in the midst of them. Because you are the kingdom. You magnify it through talking positivity in the air. Words are alive. I could look at you right now and say, man, I'll slap them. You can feel that. When you tell somebody, brother, I love you, you can feel that. When you tell somebody, you all right, but you can do better, you can feel that. We got to learn how to take constructive criticisms, because constructive criticism is the only thing that can build us up. We got to stop being Debbie Downers. God said, pick yourself up. Let me get Sirach 14. Sirach 14. Hold on. Bear with me. Damn, where's it at? Hold on. Where it says my song? Sirach 14 says my song. Yeah, right here. Let me get that.
Book of Sirach chapter 14 and verse 11. My son, according to thy ability, do good to thyself.
God said he wants us to do good to ourselves. God didn't command us to walk around looking like we stink. He said, do good to yourself. Take yourself out. Brush your teeth, man. Throw a party for yourself. Get to know yourself. Examine yourself. In order for a rocket to reach higher atmospheric goals, he had to detach himself. We got to let go of the things that's holding us down and start aiming for the moon. I mean, if we aim for the stars, we're gonna land on the moon. We got to learn how to engage in the art of detachment, of being unbothered. We got to stop letting these doubts and plague our mind, because we're better than we know. I don't think our fear is sin or not being good enough. I think our fear is the simple fact that we can be greater beyond measure. So we settle for less. We settle for a 9-to-5 when we can be businessmen. We settle for these things because we don't believe in ourselves. I didn't see a so-called black woman get called a nigger, feed her babies, and work 2 jobs. You can't tell me that we ain't special. But a so-called white woman can't do that. They don't have that luxury. Keep going.
It says, and give the Lord his due offering.
Only thing the Lord asks for return is his due offerings. He just wants you to give what's for him, to him, and for him. He wants us to treat each other right and love one another. It's scientifically been proven that love have the ability to rewire the brain. It has the ability to do so. That's why I titled this lesson Powerful I Am, because you are powerful. You are great. You are a achiever. You are a go-getter. You're not a gold digger. You a gold getter. And ain't nobody is cut from the cloth that you cut from. That's why you shouldn't let Satan pull you down. I think that's a major opt-out when we say Satan made me do it. Let me get first James 1:12. That's an opt-out when you say the devil make me do it. The devil have one job. His job is to deceive us. Instead of us putting our focus on the devil, let's put our focus on ourselves. It's something lying dormant within us. Instead of blaming the devil, we need to start blaming ourselves, because that's the very same thing that's bringing us down. When you don't have the ability to have accountability, the Most High is setting us to be accountable for our actions. Let me get that.
Book of James chapter 1 and verse 12. Blessed is the man that endured temptation.
God said, blesses you who endure temptation. When you tempted, that's not a sin, but when you take pleasure within that action, that becomes sinful. Because you can't no longer say the devil made you do it. No, that's something within you that made you do it. Why opt out? We know the devil go to and fro. When you take wind to these different doctrines, you're being tossed to and fro with every winning doctrine. The devil do the same thing. That's the characteristics of a devil. So you can't sit here and tell me that you can marry a young woman who's 9 years old, because Christopher Columbus did that. Some camps teach that. That's shame on you. Your mouth needs to be stopped. Because when David went in his youth, why wasn't he invited to the battle? If we can date these young women, these 9-year-olds, these 10-year-olds, these 15-year-olds, why wasn't David invited to this battle? Saul said, you were only in your youth. He was a carrier, handing the man of war goods and stuff. So it was a surprise when he was on that battlefield. But he had the spirit of the Lord on him. The Lord wanted to put them Canaanites to shame through this little boy. When Jesus was 12, why they was still looking for him? They didn't say, oh, he gonna be all right. He grown. They didn't say that. Keep going.
It says, blessed is the man that endured temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him.
God said, I will give you the crown of life. Now, this crown of life is going to be way more fashioned than Jacob the jeweler, which you have here. It's going to be better than the grills that we have here because his gold moths, it won't rust. Can't no man take it from you. You got to earn it. This world teaches you, if you can't get it, take it. We don't know what it's like to work hard, but they say that we lazy, but we built this whole world up. So how are we lazy? Keep reading.
Verse 13. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempted he any man. For every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed.
So it's our own lust that lie idle within us. That's what causes us to go off. It's not Satan. Satan has one job. I'm going to still say that. Satan has one job. It's to lead you astray. It is your job to be good soldiers of Christ and stand by his decrees, his deeds, his action. He already led the way. When he was tempted by Satan in the mountain, they was both quoting scriptures back and back. God said, man must not live by a word alone, but every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Lord. Satan said this in the book of Psalms. Satan was reiterating the same thing when he said, thy dashes my foot against the stones. That's written in the book of Psalms. They both was exchanging the word of God. That's the very that's the very thing that can deliver you out of the hands of the evil one. The evil one that's rooted within your soul. That's that doubt, the fear. God said, I know what I put it within you. I put love, peace of mind. Ain't nothing like a peace of mind. When you go home after a long day of work, your boss cuss you out. Ain't nothing like a peace of mind. God said, I will put that in you. I put love and peace in you. This world put anger in us. It put hate in us. That's why we always want to do thug life, because it's the hate you give. I'll finish it.
Verse 15. Then when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. Do not err, my beloved brethren. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and cometh down from the Father of lights.
Now, these are the things that come from God. All good things come from God. A sound mind comes from God. But we got to stop playing in the devil's playground in order for us to attain it. We're going to end this off with Proverbs 20 and 27. Let me get Revelation 1:14. Let me get Revelation 1:14 first.
Revelation chapter 1, verse 14.
Yeah.
His head and his hairs were white like wool,
God said his head and his hairs was white like wool.
as white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass.
Now, God's eyes was as a flame of fire, because you got to realize, of course, you're going to be mad after you just got killed. And the people that you died for is disrespecting your name by not keeping and doing the things that you do. So, of course, you're going to be upset, eyes on fire. That's why he say don't make no graven image. That's like me getting shot by a 9mm. Then you turn around and put that same 9mm on your chest. What's the glory and honor in that? The glory and honor is the keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, and living out my name and leaving by an example that I set before you. Let me get Proverbs 20 and 27.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 20 and verse 27. The spirit of man is the candle of the Lord,
It says the spirit of man is the candle of the Lord.
searching all the inward parts of the belly.
That's the thing that searches the inward parts of the belly. God, he doesn't take pleasure in the outward body. This is not glorious. You get hit and you bump your toe on the edge of the bed. That hurts. You know what I'm saying? How is this body glorious? You work out for 5 hours, you be sleepy throughout the whole day. How this body is glorious. After you get done reading, your eyes hurt. Blurry as heck. Like, how's this body glorious, man? It's crazy. We gotta start looking for the things that are of heaven, heavenly things, celestial bodies. We gotta start meditating on those things, not on things that we can see, because we walk not by sight, but through faith. Everything we go to have crafted us to be here. That's why we got to start taking pleasure in sorrow, because sorrow makes the heart glad. And that's in Ecclesiastes 7. It says sorrow is better than laughter. Because if you're having such a good time, you're going to forget about the Lord. You're going to forget about him because you're having such a good time. You in the club, you have your section, you bring your bottles, you got women. You're going to forget about the Lord. That's why he says it's better to be sorrow than excessive laughter, because God don't want you to forget about him. And on that, I say shalom.
Huh?